Okay, so here I have the base scenario the uh, uh, out of the dev kit set. Uh, Picked this one because it's got the satellite out here that's got an LTP interface, an LTP convergence layer, and maybe we can also look at this one with at the ground station here that's got LTP and TCP. So the first thing we're going to want to do is actually turn on all of the watch characters. So here is the directory in tilde/.core configs devkit base, and I already CD'd down into the config directory. So here's everybody's configs, and really I'm interested in nodes 3 and node 4. So node 3, look at their BPRC, and here I note that, okay, it's got watch characters turned on. If yours has watch characters of 0, you're going to want to turn that on, or if there's no watch character line, you'll want to add one. Look in node 4's BPRC, and node 4 has watch characters turned off. So I'm going to go up here and just replace that with a 1 and turn on the watch characters there. Another thing that I'm going to do real quick here is I'm going to remove tilde/.ssh/known host. I'm doing this because one of the things that I'm going to show is SSHing from the host machine into the VMs, which is a slightly different way of getting a shell on them than double clicking on them and having core manage popping up a tab for you. I do that because if you want to get X stuff back out, you need to SSH in, and they end up with different keys every time. So it's just, and X will get snippy about forwarding when you've already got an entry for something and the keys don't match. So I'm just going to remove that, and that'll remove all the known hosts so that we don't get an error when we do that. So go ahead and start this. Takes a minute to get everybody spun up. This is going to show up. There's going to be all of the GUI stuff that manages displaying the bundle list and the contact plan are going to show up. I'm going to wait for all that. And we can see here that ping was in fact working and things are going out there. So let's go have a look at, start with N3. If I just double click on node 3 and look in his tab, so I can look here, and here you can see that this is the core ion config.sh file that has all of the script that starts the various ion admin programs and gets ion running. And here's its output where all that stuff got redirected. So if I just do tail -f on core ion config.out, I can look here, and lo and behold, I've got a bunch of watch characters that are all showing up, and things are happening. So these are, if you remember from before, A, B, C's are things that are coming out of bundle protocol, and Y's and Z's are receptions. So A, B, and C, low letters are things going out, and higher letters are things coming back in. So some stuff is going out. If we get in here, the DEF, I think, was LTP codes, and again, really to sort that out, we'd have to go back and look through the secret decoder ring for what all the watch characters mean. And if you end up doing this a lot, and you can get to the point where, yeah, you know the common watch characters like equals. I'm not real clear on, but since it's not a letter, I assume it's questionable. But things are going on. Everybody seems reasonably happy. Pings are going through at this point, and maybe we'll watch it just until that gets out of range. So here we're seeing sort of the same kind of pattern where we get, this, and what I'm doing is just carriage return in between. So that string has got to be, bundles going out, the return bundle coming back, and then by the time we get down here, and I suspect this is the satellite's out of range, and we're not able to transmit to it, then things change, right? We're getting Y's and B's only that are showing up there. So the other thing that we can do, I'll just go ahead and Control C that. The other thing that we can do is we can SSH in from the host. So this is a tab that's back on the host in VirtualBox. And if we go up here and look in here in session options, there's a control network that's been defined, 192.168.250.0. So what that means is that there's really another, every one of these people actually has another network interface that's going from that node out to the host. So it's not one that data is flowing across here, but it's one that we can use to get from the host into that. So I'm going to SSH into node 3. So that's SSH. I'm going to port forward X 192.168.250.3 is the way that it manages the address allocation. Well, there you go. 4 will let me in. I suspect that just the deal is that SSHD probably isn't running on node 3. So now we can SSH in. We end up here now in home core, which is not the same place you get when you double click on a node and get a tab. So we're going to need to cd into temp pycore dot whatever the PID is, n4.conf, and then we're back down here. And here we can see the core ionconfig.sh and ionconfig.out. Tail -f core ionconfig.out. So here, nothing is happening because we're on the satellite and it's not pinging. When we get connectivity back, we should see a whole bunch of stuff happen. And again, that's going to happen when Ion thinks there's connectivity, not just when Core thinks there's connectivity. And here you get a bunch of things. So that's all the queued up bundles jumping back in. So that's cool. On the DevKit machine, there's a tool called ionwatchcharacters.py. So you can run that, and it takes as an input a file to watch for watch characters showing up. And that'll make you a window that looks like this, which is just displaying the watch characters, but together with a timestamp and some explanatory text. To show what things mean. So here, timestamps aren't changing, nothing is happening. We'll see this in a minute come in. So in a second, again, when Ion figures out that there's connectivity and starts flowing bundles over that link, so now we can see that we're seeing bundles queued for delivery to application, bundles getting popped. You can go up here to the menu and say options, and this will let you select which of the watch characters are being printed. So here you can go through, and here I've just selected all of LTP and all of BP watch characters. Those equal signs we saw before were LTP, unacknowledged checkpoint was retransmitted, so this is retransmitting checkpoints. So you can turn on these things on and off sort of individually, and if you're only interested in particular watch characters, and it's not very robust, I think, against having those get changed while you're running it. So I'm going to go back and I'll just rerun it. It's also not bright about looking at the very top part of that ionconfig.out file. If you remember when we looked at it before, the top portion of ionconfig.out is really the output of the Ion admin programs. If you scream all the way back up here, it will, oh, maybe it did get slightly brighter, and I called that out. But it will print anything that ends up in that ionconfig.out file and try to interpret it as watch characters. So if other junk shows up there, then it'll sort of corrupt the what's displayed here. But you can go through all that. You can save the settings, and it'll save them to your home directory, so that if you selected uh, only particular watch characters, they'll come back the same way the next time. Another probably, this is node 4. I'm going to go ahead now and double click on node 3 to get a tab over here on node 3. And I'm going to do that because I want to show another one of the diagnostics is a thing called BP list. BP list can be useful. It simply lists the bundles that are present at a node. So there was nobody, BP list. BP list. I sort of think that bundles should be piling up here. I wonder if I've run this thing all the way, if I've run it all the way past the end of its connectivity, then it won't route out there, and I have. So here I've run it all the way through its connectivity. I'm going to just stop this and restart it. What I want to show is when the satellite is disconnected, we can look and see the number of bundles that are piled up here. BP list will actually tell us something about them, so we can look and see where are they headed, how long have they been there. So again, now that we have this, we can pull up and really all this little tool, all this large tool, all this little tool here is doing is running BP list and counting the number of bundles that are present. So if I double click here on node 3 and go look here, I can type BP list, and here it's giving me the list, so 14 bundles, and now there are 19. So you can go through each one of these and say, here's a bundle that's sitting there. Its source ID is 2.4, its destination is 4.1. The report to EID is 2.4. There's no custodian. It was created at this time. It's not a fragment. The destination is a singleton. All of these things are going to be singleton destinations because they're not trying to leverage multicast. It's going to expire at this time, so you can sort of compare these two times and say we've got something short of 1,000 seconds left, and it'll even tell you what the payload is and the various extension blocks that are in the bundle. So you can sort of walk through that and look at what bundles are on that node waiting to be forwarded out. And if we wait a little bit, I'll wait until node 4 comes back, and I'll actually watch over here to see when ION thinks that connectivity is back, so that it will actually dump all it'll forward all the bundles. So we'll give that a second, and then if I do BP list, then I see 0. And if I get this at just the right time, I might see a bundle in there as it's sort of transiting the node and waiting to be forwarded. And maybe I probably got that one. So here's one that was in the middle of being forwarded right when we asked to see the list, and so we can see that one.